Hi there everyone, you are currently joining here Laura of Laura's Creative Pages of Cards, and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I'm currently doing a series of the sketches that are found in the annual catalogue, and there's 22 of them, and you've now landed here at part 3, which is the number 12 through to 17. So let's dive straight into it. So what I'm doing is I'm just sharing here all the dimensions that I have created for these cards. So this is card number 12. So I'm sharing my dimensions, and all of the cards that I'm sharing here in this series have been created with the Country Woods paper pack and the Country Flowers stamp and die bundle. So this is sketch number 12. It's absolutely stunning. I love it. So the dimensions that I have for this one here are, here we go. A, which is the block that's running through the center here, A is 5.5 by 3 1/4. And then B, which is the largest circle, I've cut a 2 3/4 circle. And then I've cut C, D, and E all at a minimum of 1.5, but you can go up to 2. So on my particular one, I think it's actually 1 5/8 is roughly this circle size. So yeah, so the maximum I would go would be a 2-inch circle, but the minimum I would work with is about a 1.5. And of course it could be different shapes. It doesn't actually have to be circles. It could be like fruit circles, things like that. So, and then I've just added on this beautiful little bucket and the flowers with this sentiment onto the larger circle there. So that there is sketch number 12. Sketch number 13 is this one here with a range of paper tearing. And so what I've done here is number A is 1.5 by 2 1/8. And then all of these 3 pieces here, I cut them at an original cutting point of 4 1/4 wide, which is the width of the card, by 1 3/4. And then I just did a paper tear to create that. Now I am actually going to do a completely separate video on how I paper teared and how I put this card together. Not part of the series, but it will be a completely different video that you'll be able to view at a later time. But yeah, so that's very simple. So A, like I said, is 1.5 by 2 1/8, and then with B, C, and D, I did all of them at 4 1/4 by 1 3/4, and then I just did the paper tearing on them to attach them to the card. So that there is sketch number 13. Sketch number 14 here. This one's just so pretty. So the back, this A piece, which is the largest piece, I cut that there at 5 1/4 by 4. And then I cut B at 4 5/8 by 2 7/8. And then I cut C at 3.5 by 3/4. So yeah, so let me just bring that diagram up there to show you. So I have A at 5 1/4 by 4, B at 4 5/8 by 2 7/8, and then C, this panel through here, at 3.5 by 3/4. And then I just decorated over the top of the panel there. So very simple, but looks really fabulous. And on this one here, I just did a bit of paper edging just to rough up the edges on that. And I think I did a little bit of ink blending on my wood grain paper there as well. So that's sketch 14. Now with 15, I've actually gone with 15A and 15B. This is something that I thought was really clever to do. So this is what the sketch looks like in the catalogue, just a circle with a banner across it. So what I did was I actually got 2 from one card. So I cut a 5 1/4 by 4-inch panel, and then I cut this circle out of the panel. So then what I did was underneath here is I've got a square white cardstock that I stamped and just slotted in underneath that circle. So I could probably maybe peel back, yeah. So you can see there's a square underneath there. And then what I did was I just moved that circle over onto card number 2. And so it's the same design, but like I said, you're getting 2 for 1. So on 15A, as I said, it's a 5 1/4 panel, and then I cut out of it a 3 1/4-inch circle. I would make that a minimum of 3 if you don't have a 3 1/4-inch circle, and that came out of it. Then I used either, you know, a 3.5 up to 4 inch square to stamp onto, and that went and slid underneath. And then with B, I would make it a minimum of 2.5 inches long. Okay, so B being the sentiment piece is a minimum of 2.5, and then I just added that little bit of a bow on. So that's 15A. 15B is taking that 3.25 inch circle and just popping it in the center to the top quadrant of the card. And then with this title piece here, that I would make a minimum of 2 3/4. Mine on this particular design is actually 3, but I would say 2 3/4 is the minimum that you want for that one. Really simple cards, but so fabulous. Okay, so then let's move on. Let me just hold that there for a second so you can see what I wrote for those two sketches. So 15A and 15B, so it's a little bit of a bonus. Okay, then let's go into card number 16. This has only got 2 panels on it, panel A and panel B. So A is 4 3/4 by 3 1/4, and B is 2 1/8 by 1 1/8, and this is how it turned out. Isn't it stunning? So it's actually off, it's not dead center, it's actually off to the right a little bit, giving you a wider gap here on the left and a small one on the right. So it's asymmetrical, which is was a little bit difficult for me, but now that I've put it together, I absolutely love it. And then I've got that one piece here that's dovetailed in the background there, so that's the 2 1/8 by 1 1/8. And then I just happen to just pop a little sentiment over the top with some falling leaves. So really simple card, but really stunning. So that is 16. And the last one here is 17. And this one here has got 3 panels in the background. Now these could be 3 different colors. I've opted to go with the same pattern paper for all 3 on this one here. And I've cut those there at 1 by 4 3/4. Okay, so 4 3/4 by 1 for each of those. And then the last panel is D, which is this wood grain piece here, and that is 3.5 by 2.5. So that's it for that card. It's just those 4 pieces, and then it's how you choose to decorate it. So this one's come out really beautiful as well. And on this particular card, I just did a little bit of ink blending in the background just to add a little bit more color and dimension to it. But other than that, that's all the sketches up to 17. So there's just 5 sketches to go. This has been such a wonderful series, and I hope that you've really enjoyed learning the dimensions that I've used and drawing yourself up a little book like this as well, just to help you with creating cards really fast. I know now that I can dive back in and create it with another set of colours and stamp set, and I'm going to have no problems, you know, busting out a whole heap of cards because I've got this sketchbook all ready to go. So thank you once again for joining me here. It's Laura of Laura's Creative Pages and Cards. Bye.